As far as, the history books, but that's not really what I'm worried about. I'm worried about, how I approach, each and every single day and how I translate to winning.
Zuby, we appreciate you joining with us. Last question for you. Your coach, Rick Pitino, named a racehorse after you in Zuby. I just wonder if the horse wins or places a show, is that part of the NIL deal at St. John's, Zuby?
I don't know about all that, but it's a great it's a great accomplishment. There's not a lot of people that's out here, with a horse named after you. So I'm really blessed to have Coach Pitino as my coach, and the horse has been doing pretty well as well. So I couldn't be any more prouder than that.
Oh, you should get that in your NIL contract, man. We appreciate you joining us. Good luck in the game today, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Big day at college hoops here, St. John's, Providence. Then we got Marquette and Xavier, your boy, was on the bench there at St. John's. You know that back in the day, right?
We got a photo. Why does it look like that's superimposed?
It's funny, you know what? You're in the same spot. You're on the bench, man.
Right in the middle.
Oh, there I am. Yeah, check that out.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know. They thought I was going to be the next Chris Mullin.
That was Chris Mullin.
Wait a minute.
Chris Mullin.
Is that AI? Is that AI? Is that what they call AI now?
Can you guys pick out which one was me?
Yeah, we saw it.
It took a while, but we figured it out. We figured it out.
On a shopping cart.
TNT.
You are watching the TNT Sports College Basketball pregame, presented by Vanda Pharmaceuticals, innovating in the pursuit of people's happiness.
Jason Edwards is back for Providence. How about this, guys? In 10 conference losses for the Friars, they have lost 6 of those games by 6 points or fewer, including 4 games in overtime. So they have had so many close losses. Last time these teams picking the draft, right? Him or AJ is going to go 1 or 2. Ian Jackson has been up and down. When he's been good, he's been really good. Rick Pitino's going to need his guards to step up on the road. We got St. John's and Providence less than 10 minutes away. TV and HBO Max. I love that one-on-one stuff. St. John's is 7.5-point favorite in this game. Coach, is this game close?
Yeah, I think it's close. In their 5 losses, St. John's has given up 85 points. Tonight they're playing against the #1 offense in the Big East. St. John's is going to guard the 3-ball, okay, and try to turn Providence over.
Well, the Giants are going to have their hands full. It's going to be a raucous environment. Providence, disappointing year, looking for a signature win. Brian Anderson, Grant Hill, Andy Katz on the flip side. Johnny's Friars next.
We welcome you from downtown Providence on Valentine's Day. Amica Mutual Pavilion, home of Providence College. Always a raucous crowd here. Capacity 14,000. It is a whiteout, and it will be packed as we get you set for a doubleheader of Big East basketball on TNT Sports. We kick it off with the St. John's Red Storm, sitting at 12-1 in conference, 19-5 overall against Providence. Providence, only 4 wins. One of them came on the road at Madison Square Garden 6 weeks ago, January 3rd. Providence, the top scoring team of the Big East, shocked St. John's. Stephon Vox, the freshman, 4 made threes, was dishing a finishing kick for the Friars. They win at 77-71, and now we are ready for the rematch. And hi, everybody. With that, we welcome you. Great to have you with us. I'm Brian Anderson, along with the Hall of Famer Grant Hill. We'll hear from the Hall of Famer Andy Katz in just a moment. All right, so the backdrop of this game is that St. John's comes in here. Their only loss in conference was to Providence at home. But the bigger headline is Bryce Hopkins is coming back to Providence.
Yeah, maybe the biggest headline here in Providence. Bryce Hopkins, who spent 3 years here, many of which were hurt. He was hurt and injured, but back, and he has been steady and consistent. His shooting has been an X factor during these 10 games for St. John's. And how will he be received back in familiar surroundings?
St. John's has not lost a game since they lost to Providence. They've won 10 in a row. Isaiah Sellers, Ian Jackson, Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins, Zuby Ejiofor, who went for 33 and 15 in that game January 3rd. Jameer Jones back in the starting lineup for Providence. He missed last game with flu-like symptoms. Unfortunately, Corey Floyd is not in the starting lineup for the Friars, their captain. Great scene here. Rhode Island's capital of Providence. James Breeding, Tony Chiazza, and Nathan Farrell are 3 officials. And away we go as the Friars control the opening tip. Jalen Sellers, reigning Big East Player of the Week at the controls for Providence. This game's got a lot of juice to it, despite the fact that Providence has just 4 wins in conference play. Feels like a dangerous team that just has not been able to get over the hump this year. They dump it down inside, and the bucket is good. The first one is in. Aswin Arunse gets us on the board and gets us started, Grant.
And BA, you said it best. Providence has struggled, but a lot of talent, and with the way they score and shoot the 3, they are always in a game and always have a chance.
Every time Hopkins touches the ball is Arunse with the block. Might have got away with a double dribble there. Hopkins, 23 in red, had great years here at Providence. Missed 2 seasons with an ACL injury. They felt like he took some of the NIL money, hoping that he would stay for another year. When he finally was healthy, he went to St. John's. So they have a serious burr in the saddle here about Hopkins. Very similar to the response that Ed Cooley got when he returned from Georgetown. There's Zuby Ejiofor, and he puts it in. And a chance at a 3-point play for St. John's.
And you see right there the versatility of St. John's. Dylan Mitchell secures the rebound, pushes the break, and just a fantastic rim run as you see Rick Pitino always coaching his team and his squad. But Ejiofor, the heart and soul of this team. 3-point play opportunity for him.
Ejiofor, 33 points, 15 rebounds in that game January 3rd. The problem for St. John's in that game, everybody else really struggled. The rest of the Red Storm shot a combined 20% in that game, and Providence with one of the bigger upset wins of the year as Mitchell commits the foul. You will notice a theme here between Kim English and Rick Pitino, both coaches talking about how physical these 2 teams play. And Grant, in their last meeting, there were 50 fouls in a 40-minute game. 65 free throw attempts combined in Providence's victory January 3rd at Madison Square Garden. So there figures to be a lot of activity on the line today. Jameer Jones, too much dribbling, lost the handle. Now Hopkins hearing the boos. Hopkins, and he's tied up. It's a block. It'll be a held ball. And that gets him on their feet right away as Jones recovers after getting his pocket picked. Possession arrow belongs to St. John's.
And you see the turnover by Jones, but getting back in transition and just contesting 2 hands, almost a turnover in that situation. Beautiful defense by Jameer Jones.
Here's Osiah Sellers. He has a terrific stroke. Knocks in a nice little mid-range. No relation to Jalen Sellers, who has the ball in his hands now.
And Sellers has made nearly half of the mid-range shots for St. John's. So that is his sweet spot, the corner 3 in the mid-range game. And it's important for St. John's. You're going to have to really guard your man. This is a one-on-one team that likes to isolate 4 round 1 Providence. Defensively is a must.
Ian Jackson going to the basket, misses the layup into the hands of Sellers. Sellers will have the ball in his hands a lot. Went for over 28 points a game last week to earn Big East Player of the Week. Puts up a tough shot, and that'll be St. John's ball. So Sellers taking matters in his own hands. A lot of isolation the last 2 possessions.
How about the play of Jalen Sellers? Had that 36-point game against Butler. Double overtime, made 6 3-pointers, can shoot it, get downhill. A lot of 3 balls opportunity for round 1 offense for Providence, and Ejiofor, he can make that.
And inside, nice pass. You got an offensive board from Mitchell, and he sets up Hopkins for a 2-handed jam.
And for Hopkins, that can get you going. You know, twice he tried to get to the rim, could not score, had that block shot earlier, but just to see the ball go through the basket can calm your nerves.
There's a turnover, and Hopkins lays it in. And a whistle and a timeout. Kim English. Hopkins got a little stare down for the Providence fans. It's an 8-0 St. John's run right out of the gates. English has to get an early timeout as the Red Storm are storming their way with revenge on their mind here in Rhode Island. St. John's winners of 10 in a row. Big East record is 14 in a row. St. John's has a part of that record back in 1985, along with UConn, who's done it twice. And here's Sellers once again out of control, turnover. St. John's is all over Providence. Jackson lays it in, and the turnovers starting to stack up again for Providence College.
Well, St. John's, the Red Storm, they are storming on defense. And Dylan Mitchell just, his handprint all over this game here defensively. Right now, guarding the ball. Everything's isolation one-on-one right now for the Friars, and right there, Mila able to score.
Providence desperately needed that one. The Friars lost to Seton Hall Wednesday after back-to-back wins. They had 18 turnovers on Wednesday. Providence leads the Big East Conference in turnovers, the most, as Jackson reigns in a 3-ball for St. John's.
And Ian Jackson getting going. You know, Rick Pitino inserting him as the point guard, and really has done well early in the first half of games. Pitino opting at times to close with Dylan Darling at the end.
Stephon Vox, talented freshman, sets up Sellers. This game could not have started better for St. John's. Coming into a raucous environment, a team that beat them, their only loss in conference play, and they have quieted down this big crowd early. There's another deflection and a turnover. Ejiofor gets a deflection. Jackson goes all the way to the basket. Ejiofor paved the way for him, and Ian Jackson back-to-back rim runs, and it's 15-4 St. John's.
Right now, the defense of the Red Storm is Vox there just pulls from almost half court.
Hopkins sets up Ejiofor. He is a handful. Preseason Big East Player of the Year, number 24 in red. And he is having a great season this season. Sellers gets himself free. Air ball. And that'll be St. John's ball. And Sellers is down. Sellers landed awkwardly. Timeout on the floor here. Isaiah Sellers, one of St. John's best shooters, is hobbled. That's it. Ian Jackson able to bury a 3. 2 attacks to the rim. Jackson with 7 early points in the first 5 minutes. St. John's is cooking right now.
TNT Sports. College basketball gets even bigger. College basketball all season long on TNT, True TV, and stream on HBO Max.
Welcome back to Providence. St. John's up 15-4. And just now, Isaiah Sellers went back to the locker room. St. John's athletic training staff just going to check him out, make sure he's okay, some sort of lower body injury. We'll get an update here shortly on that. As for Bryce Hopkins, he's already taken out the crowd. He had to be someone that they were going to sort of villainize here because of how he left. You guys touched on this at the beginning. He had an interesting career here. First year here after transfer from Kentucky, first team All Big East. Second season, he gets hurt 14 games in, done for the year. Third season, ends up only playing 3 games before he shuts down. That was last season. Now, in the Big East, everyone kind of thought if he was going to leave Providence, it would be to follow Ed Cooley to Georgetown. But the thought was he wanted to sort of completely separate himself from the PC, Georgetown, Cooley, Kim English era, and that's where St. John stepped in. And as you guys know, we're in a new era right now because it used to be years ago, I may be dating myself, that if you transferred within the league, you'd have to sit out a year. Now that is not the case. You can go within the league, and that does bring a little bit of animosity when you go play at your former school or coach at your former school.
No question, some bad blood for sure. Makes for some very interesting talking points as well. And Bryce Hopkins, what a start he's off to, Grant. Stuff in the stat sheet already. He's got 4 points, 3 rebounds. He's got 2 steals already. I think this is about as good as a start as Hopkins could have imagined.
100%. And I've been impressed, as you said, with his defense. He's moving well. He's doing the little things on the defensive end and just not trying to get out of character. Just doing what he's been doing these last 10 games that have contributed to the Red Storm's success.
Dylan Darling on the floor. He's been a key factor in this 10-game winning streak. Darling comes off the bench. Excellent point guard. He can shoot it as well. Josan Sannon on the floor as well as Ejiofor takes over and draws a foul immediately. Cole Hargrove just checked in and picks up the foul. And Andy Katz, we're looking at the injury to Osiah Sellers. You have an update?
Yeah, they took him back, and it was a right ankle injury. They retaped him, and now they're going to obviously see how he goes, see how he can do the rest of the game.
All right, thanks, Andy. Andy on the spot, as always.
It looked like as Mila was contesting that Sellers jump shot, that he basically got his foot in the landing space. And the right ankle of Sellers, you can see Mila contesting, and it looked like Sellers landed right on his foot. And that is difficult play there. You want to defensively get out and contest. You certainly got to be careful, not foul and not hurt the offensive player.
Yeah, you have to leave the shooter room to land. Obviously, at the NBA level, that'll get you a flagrant one, and is reviewable.
Can they go back retroactively and give guys flagrant ones?
For all the times you look at on guys.
Yes, exactly. You know I have bad wheel.
You got one bad wheel.
The other one's not great.
You got a nice cankle going on down there. It's working for you.
Oh, it's more than a cankle.
Providence has had 11 possessions, 2 made field goals, and almost their 5th turnover. Late clock here, and that's going to hit the rim, stays in play. Powell gets the board, lost the handle going up, and it's going to stay on this side of the floor.
Yeah, right now Providence just out of sorts on the offensive end. Give credit to St. John's and their ball pressure. You know this is what the Red Storm do. And Sellers, a little contact there.
Teammate.
Yeah.
Teammate stepped on his foot, Greg.
Lost his balance. Looks like me out on the golf course with BA. But, you know, Providence going to have to trust the pass. A lot of isolation, one-on-one play. I know that's part of their game. It's difficult against this pressure defense from St. John's.
Yeah. Sellers gets the switch, gives it right back to Jameer Jones. Jones drops it off. Hargrove bang it inside. Unable to hit. Another chance. Sellers for 3. Missed it. And Hargrove playing hard. Keeps another possession alive. To the basket and throwing it down is Jameer Jones. Best trip down the floor yet for Providence.
Well, I'll tell you what. Give credit on that last offensive possession to Cole Hargrove, who's called for a defensive foul right now. The multiple efforts on the offensive glass. You see the hustle, and it ends in Sellers' hands. He misses the 3, but look, just runs the ball down, making the extra play. The team feeds off of that. Great ball movement there. And Jones with the easy 2, but give credit to Hargrove.
Inside. Back on the floor, Osiah Sellers, and as Andy reported, he was going to give it a go, and he looks spry right there as he drops it in.
Well, you know when you're young, you heal quickly.
Oh, man, no question about that.
I'd have been 2 weeks.
What's that old phrase? The ball has healing powers. He got a touch, and he didn't look like he had any issues whatsoever. Fox for 3, knocks it in.
And you see Rick Pitino upset at Darling. You cannot give Fox any space. At all times, you got to play him dribble used.
Here's Sannon. Ruben Prey back up center. Couldn't corral it, and it'll be Providence ball. Rick Pitino trying to take a 4th program to a Final Four. It's never been done. He and John Calipari, the 2 that have taken 3 programs to a Final Four. Pitino's first Final Four was right here coaching Providence College. Billy Donovan and company as Dylan Darling runs the floor, gets a steal, sets up Sellers, no good. And there's Stephon Vox with a rebound. But Providence is super sloppy with a basketball right now. And has haunted them all year.
And St. John's switching everything. So basically forcing them to play one-on-one, multiple guys. You see another switch.
Vox got a 7-footer on a mismatch here. Stephon Vox gets a step, leaves it, and able to put it inside.
And so smart by Vox. You got the mismatch. Drive them. Put pressure on the defense. Pretty easy too. And
Darling sticks a 3.
Darling has been so good. He struggled mightily back in December, but great confidence from that young man right now.
His first 8 games, he was 1 for 15 from 3-point range. His last 14 games, Dylan Darling, he's shooting over 46%. Rick Pitino told him to shoot more. Mila had it blocked by Sellers, thought he was fouled. Back up the floor comes St. John's. Sellers kicks it. Sandin, 3-point try. Good. St. John's is clicking on all cylinders right now. Up 13, and we're 9 minutes into this first half. It's going to be a foul as Jones goes to the basket. Kim English looking for answers right now. Providence handed St. John's their lone defeat at Madison Square Garden 6 weeks ago. Looking like a much different story so far today. St. John's up 25-12 on the road here at Providence College. St. John's, they were picked first in the Big East to start the year, 5th in the country under Rick Pitino after a big year last year, but they started 9-5, fell out of the top 25 briefly, lost to Providence January 3rd. They haven't lost since. Right now sitting at 17th in the nation. In the net rankings, Grant, they are 24th, and they have won 10 consecutive games under the Hall of Fame coach. Rick Pitino's 900th win and 904th victory came against his son Richard, head coach at Xavier. Been a banner year, and this is a year after St. John's under Rick Pitino went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 25 years.
And because of the great success of last year's team and all the pieces they assembled, there was an expectation, as you talked about, that this group would come out and be a top team. They struggled early on, but speaking of struggle there, Sellers' difficulty staying in front of Jones on that drive. And like the set that Kim English set, just Jones flashed to the top. They cleared out the right side, let him get downhill, using that physicality on the drive. And maybe inject some life to this offense right now for the Friars. But to your point, Rick Pitino, the expectations were so high. They struggled. You know, they lost at Alabama in the Garden at home. They lost out the Players Era Festival. We saw them in Las Vegas. Just kind of struggled to figure things out. I thought he shortened his rotation. He defined roles a little bit better. He got the new guys to play Rick Pitino, St. John's defense. And it just really kind of all came together, as you said, right after this loss to Providence. And they have been as good as any team, not just in the Big East, but really, you think of a lot of the teams nationally, this team in the tournament could be dangerous.
Yeah, no question.
With the way they defend. The only Achilles heel might be the three-point shooting. They can knock down shots from the perimeter. They can play with anyone.
Jameer Jones had blood on his jersey, so had to get that cleaned up. Got a free throw coming here, trying to cap off a three-point trip. We send it over to Andy Katz.
And conversely, for Providence, the consensus was if they had held on to beat UConn after beating St. John's, they're up 11 with 3 minutes left. They end up losing in overtime. That would have been a back-to-back stretch of wins against St. John's and UConn. That literally would have changed their entire season, the narrative, everything about this group. After that, then they lost again to Xavier and Villanova, and it steamrolled. 4 overtime losses for this Providence team. But think about what would have happened if they had beaten back-to-back St. John's and UConn, how things might have been different.
No question. And you look at their season, Andy, the 3 overtime losses. They've got 6 losses within 6 points. I mean, this team, yes, they're sitting here at 4-10. They are better than that. That's why they are a concern for most coaches in the Big East. And you can tell just by the body language that Providence, after suffering that loss at Seton Hall on Wednesday, They've had a little air taken out of them. But also, you get to the Big East tournament, you try to make a run and try to grab one of those AQs, one of those automatic qualifying bids by winning the Big East tournament. It can be a tough task, but that's the goal right now for Providence.
You said it best. 16 clutch time games, 6 and 10 in those games. They haven't fared well down the stretch, but they've been in the games, to your point. And there's a lot of juice in the Garden during the Big East tournament. Anything can happen. You can get hot.
It is one of the great conference tournaments in the land, especially because of the venue. Got a foul here. Sandin is going to go to the line. Kim English, 37-year-old head coach. He was a star at Missouri. All Big 12 performer there. Speaking of conference tournaments, he was the most outstanding player at the Big 12 tournament back in his day, back in 2012.
Quite an accomplishment.
He's had a rough go of it this year in the Big East. They do lead the Big East in scoring. That's a good news version of that. They're 14th in the nation, averaging 88 plus a game. The problem, Grant, is they're allowing the most points in the Big East as well. Defense has been a problem.
That is a problem.
Sandin missing both free throws.
Got a mismatch inside.
Ejiofor trying to pick up the freshman Vox. Now Sellers. Sandin right with him, step for step, making it tough on Sellers. Sellers puts it up anyway and draws the foul.
A pretty good defense there from Sandin. And Sellers just very patient, fundamental with the footwork there. And I thought as he pivoted right here, Sandin does a good job. He tried to wall him up, hands straight up in the air, maybe a little contact with the body. You're playing as well as Sellers, sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt.
Sellers, he's been playing with a foot problem. It is not 100%. Hopkins back on the floor, that's why you hear the boos. Sandin will sit for Pitino. You always know when Hopkins is on the floor and when he gets a touch. Matter of fact, Rick Pitino told us earlier, he goes, I've told my players, we're going to deploy the Greg Popovich method of the .5, meaning the ball can't be in your hands longer than half a second. That way, the boos will be short and sweet.
Like a quick boo.
Here goes Jackson. Ian Jackson, little pull up, no good. Mila there for the rebound. Here comes Providence on the move. Mila pushing, sprays it. Sellers for three, no. And Hopkins with a rebound.
And that's Providence's game. They want to play with pace, get down the floor quickly. Oh, a lot of contact inside. And Ejiofor had post position there on the Runse, who was fronting him. Looked like he almost a hook and hold almost. But Ejiofor, man, you have to be paranoid guarding him. He is one of the best rim runners in transition. And their arms there were tangled up.
Second foul on Arunse. He is a volume fouler. 85, 86 fouls now on the season for Arunse. That's top 20 in the country. He's fouled out 4 times.
Well, you know, at 53, that's something I can still do.
Volume foul. You can bring that. You can bring that to the table.
Yeah, you can bring that.
Hopkins misses, much to the delight of the Providence fans. Sellers looking for his first made basket. He's 0 for 5. Picks his dribble up, looking for help. Just a disorganized set here for Providence. And now Vox fires up a 3, contested 3. Hargrove, offensive rebound. He's giving Kim English some nice minutes, and that's going to be an offensive foul on the screen. And never a good sign. Dylan Mitchell grabbing his knee. Good thing he is up and moving here as Providence turns it over again. The push by Hargrove. And it's turnover number 6 for Providence in the first 12 minutes of this game.
And an obvious foul right there. Hargrove didn't have to do that. Now he has to sit. And I thought he had been playing well. 2 or 3 offensive rebounds that he's had. He's got to sit.
In and out. Kim English going deep in his roster right now, trying to find the right pieces. Sellers finds Fox.
Fox passed up an open 3 there.
Sellers can't miss, or can't hit again. He's 0 for 6 now. Offensive rebound, Powell. Inside, Pennis, no, had it blocked. Jackson flying high, spanks it off the glass. Ejiofor finds Bryce Hopkins, no good.
And right now, St. John's gone a little cold from the floor. They've been stuck on 25 for quite some time here, B.A.
Stephon Vox dribbles into one. Man, he's got a stroke. This is one of the best shooting freshmen in the Big East. And he buries a 3 to make this a 5-point game. St. John's has missed their last 7 field goal attempts. Providence is on an 8-0 run here. Jackson turns the corner. Now Mitchell. Shot clock down to 8. Got to start it over again. Jackson takes a peek. Down to 4. Jackson for 3. No. And it's Pennis with the rebound. Providence on an 8-0 run. Mila turns it over. Wild to the basket. Back and forth they go. Mitchell, some contact, puts it in with a left hand.
And that's his game. Coast to coast, that left hand. Not really known for his shooting. That's an area that will get better over time, but one of the best finishers in traffic. A timely bucket for the Redstones.
St. John's had a 13-point lead. Providence went on that 8-0 run. Johnny's back up 7 now, looking up top. Pennis can't hit, and it'll be out of bounds, and we have a timeout as we go under 6 minutes remaining in this first half. Nearly 5 minutes between buckets for St. John's and Providence behind their talented freshman Stephon Vox, able to climb back in. Red Storm by 7.
And welcome back. The turnovers have been a story early here as Providence, first 9 minutes, they had 5 turnovers. Last 5 minutes, just 2 turnovers. But St. John's, how they built the lead, active hands, deflections, and then getting out in transition, easy points, easy opportunities. St. John's 8 points off of Providence's turnovers here, and you can see those 7 turnovers certainly have been a challenge. Although Providence has done better in that last 5 minutes, as we talked about, but they're going to have to secure the ball and make sure they get a good shot opportunity on every possession.
Have as many made field goals as they do turnovers. It's going to be Providence ball here. Baseline out of bounds. Jalen Sellers off to a very rough start in this one, 0 for 6. Half of those from beyond the arc. He does have a couple of free throws, but he gets a breather. And Jameer Jones is turned away. Powell finds Vox. That's the hot hand, and Vox in and out. Had a good look. Pennis with the offensive rebound. Nice minutes off the bench for Pateris Pennis. 6 offensive boards for Providence. Can't secure one there. Shortest guy on the floor with the rebound, and Dylan Darling. Remember, we saw St. John's early in the season, Grant, and a number of the members of the St. John's coaching staff, including Rick Pitino, as Vox takes it away from Leotopoulos and throws it down. So a steal and a dunk for Stephon Vox. First turnover of the day for St. John's. Remember, the talk was that Darling could be the key to the St. John's team. He's not the best player, but he could be the most important player because of his ability to run the point. And right away, as we bring that up, he turns it over. Leotopoulos with the rebound, pushes Hopkins with an exclamation point.
I'll tell you, the best offense this first half for St. John's is getting out in transition, where they've been very efficient and effective. And the turnovers once again. A lot of contact in there.
Leotopoulos secures it. We got a referee down. James Breeding hits the deck. Everybody's down. And Leotopoulos hits a 3-ball for St. John's.
And this is the Big East. Even the officials are tough.
Just popped right back up. Full court pressure. And now St. John's backs off. That is a Rick Pitino signature. Every team he's ever had, including his window here at Providence College. That full court pressure, relentless on the ball handlers.
Well, that's how they got back and almost beat us at Duke. The press and Jamal Mashburn, who torched me.
That goes up and over the backboard. But you know what they didn't do? And Rick Pitino reminds us every time he sees Grant Hill, he didn't put a man on the inbounder. And Grant Hill made the pass to Christian Laettner.
Even Michael Jordan missed his shots. I mean, it happens.
Turnovers and three-pointers, and the Johnnies are back up 10. Put a man on the passer.
At Providence College, we don't just look for answers, we seek. Providence College, for those who seek more.
Here's a look at what's coming up in the Big East. Here in about 50 minutes, you got Villanova and Creighton over on Fox. Marquette and Xavier, second of our doubleheader here on TNT and True TV. Tonight at 8 Eastern, UConn and Georgetown. And then tomorrow, Seton Hall and Butler. That's a roundup of the weekend schedule in the Big East. The standings look like this. UConn sits at the top of the heap, 6th in the country. St. John's at 17th in the nation. Both teams with the one loss. St. John's beat UConn. And a good time to bring Andy Katz in here to find out how many Big East teams are going to make the NCAA tournament. Andy, you've hardly been asked that today.
I know, I haven't at all, but let me just tell you that we talked last week about Georgetown. They missed that opportunity against Villanova. Seton Hall has reemerged as that potential fourth team, as you see there now in fourth place, but they have no margin for error. Game like tonight, or excuse me, Sunday night, it's kind of game they got to win at Butler. Beat the teams below you. Find a way to beat one of the ones above you or in the Big East tournament. Seton Hall still in the mix, but they got to continue to go on a run.
Well, it's incredible, Andy. You know, this league is so tough. Obviously top heavy with the top three. But look, Providence is second to last. Marquette, who we had earlier this week against Villanova, almost beat them at Villanova. I mean, every night anyone can win. And obviously, it just shows you how hard it is to succeed and win in this conference in the regular season.
Now the class of the league, the two teams that everybody thought would be the class of the league, St. John's and UConn, and both have Final Four national championship caliber
good job
aspirations.
By Praise. Good job by Praise, sliding his feet there.
Yeah, Sellers just looks like he's not moving well. Now Praise gets a block. And now Sellers just turns it over. Way too much dribbling, especially for a player who is not 100%. This has turned into be a brutal first half for Sellers. He's 0 for 7. He's 0 for 3. He's turned it over 3 times now. As Hopkins is denied by Powell. Mila pushing. St. John's gets back. And now Daniels drives it. Daniels shot fake. Hot pass to Hargrove. Powell sets up in the corner. Air ball. Hopkins goes to the ground. Daniels on the ground. And Powell comes out of the pack with it. Nice play by Daniels. Sellers puts up a prayer 3. Had plenty of time on the clock.
He shot that from Newport.
Andy Katz territory. Darling gets to the basket and lays it in. Just look how hard it is for Providence on their offensive end of the floor and how easy that was for St. John's.
And that's been the theme here in this first half. St. John's in transition, just getting to the paint. No resistance defensively for Providence.
Mila spins off Hopkins. Hopkins keeps his feet on the ground. Sellers now with 9 to shoot. They clear it out for him. Dylan Darling trying to draw a foul, and finally Sellers gets one. His first bucket of the game. Started 0 for 8. Darling comes up short. Fast break, Providence. Sellers able to lay it in. And timeout, Rick Pitino. Sellers looked like he was a little hobbled after that layup. 1:17 remaining in the first half. Rick Pitino wants to talk it over. Providence inching their way back. 8-point game. as Sellers finally gets one to go. St. John's by 8. They'll have the ball here. 1:17 left in the first half. Grant, you've been watching the unrivaled one-on-one tournament. It's pretty nice. Final 4 players are set. Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Aaliyah Boston, and Alicia Gray. They're fighting for bragging rights and a piece of the $300,000 prize pool. Semifinals and finals begin tonight, 5:30 Eastern, TNT, True TV, and HBO Max.
Yeah, I think Angel Reese is supposed to be back.
I'm going for Kelsey Plum, though.
Oh, yeah. Well,
going for Kelsey Plum.
Kelsey Plum's a great player.
Veteran.
Great.
She's a one-on-one player like you were.
A little zone action out of the timeout for Kim English.
Bray misses the little jump hook, so Providence, as we go under a minute, with the ball in hand, Sellers is off the floor. You wonder about his health. He did not look very mobile with that foot injury. Mila cross court, skips it to Powell. Powell, three-pointer is down.
And I'll tell you what, B.A., Providence has not played well at all this game. 9 turnovers, out of sorts offensively, and just down 5. You get a stop and another score, you feel pretty good about yourself going in to halftime.
7-0 run here for the Friars. Friars stand tall defensively once again. Not known as a defensive team, getting it when they need it. Kelvin Odie getting some late minutes here in the first half, trying to check Vox. Shot clock is off. Clock ticks to 4. Here goes Vox. Vox, little fadeaway, no good. And that'll take us to the end of the first half. A 7-0 spurt by the Providence Friars has gotten them back into this game as Bryce Hopkins returns to Rhode Island. St. John's came out of the gates fast. They had a 13-point lead at one point. They hit the halftime locker room up 5. AT&T at the half. Coming up, Tim Doyle and his gang in Atlanta when we continue.
Safe Flight T.
Ian Jackson, call him Captain Jack.
Went to Cardinal Hayes High School in the South Bronx before transferring to Our Savior Lutheran.
Well, he's been up and down this year for St. John's. He had 7 first-half points to lead the Johnnies, but they led by 13 in that first half, guys. But a 7-0 run for Providence. All of a sudden, we got ourselves a ball game. Welcome to AT&T at the half. I'm Tim Doyle alongside Greg Anthony, Jamal Mashburn, Bruce Pearl. It was 25-12 St. John's, Coach. There was no energy in the place. It looked like it was going to be a runaway. How did St. John's build this big lead?
They built it because they just turned Providence over. Full court pressure. They didn't let Providence feel comfortable. They stayed on Sellers' left hand, made him go right. They did a lot of things they didn't do in the first game. There are hardly any teams in college basketball right now that are using full court pressure for 40 minutes. Just the pursuit here. Watch Dylan Mitchell, inside hand, comes from behind in pursuit. These energy plays are what St. John's is known for. The long pass, Dylan Darling gets on the first to the floor, always gets a 50-50 ball, and they were solid to half court.
Yeah, those are the AT&T moments that matter, Greg. Defense for St. John's. That's been their calling card during this 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, listen, their defense has been incredible, but the reality is Providence's offense has helped. Because you saw a lot of possessions where they're just trying to beat them one-on-one, 5-6 dribbles, and you can't do it that way. You've got to move the basketball against St. John's. The hardest thing to do as a defensive player is to guard passing. Much easier to guard the basketball. You get to lock in and you know where your help's going to come from. So they're going to have to work on moving the basketball, getting St. John's to have to slide those punters.
Well, one thing about St. John's, their calling card is the transition game. They really have to get in transition. Fast break points are not created equal. Sometimes it's the initial fast break, sometimes it's a secondary break, but St. John's did a great job of playing defense and contesting the shot. And when you have a forward like Dylan Mitchell who can get it off the glass and push it, and Ekafor really sealing and going down the lane. See another play here, Dylan Darling right here. Secondary break, kind of slow at it, looking at it. Okay, we're going to find the open man. Providence having a tough time doing recognition and transition.
Tough time, they jog it back, tough time.
And another play right here, Dylan Mitchell able to push it. And to me, this is where St. John's can overwhelm you. It's their front court players. And I thought early in the year, Coach Pitino did a great job of moving Dylan Mitchell back into the starting lineup, and he became that point forward because they struggled on the perimeter with point guards, and they got combo guards that really don't know how to set other guys up, but they have a strength in their front court. So Dylan Mitchell, in my opinion, he has to play in transition in order to be effective, and thus it makes St. John's effective.
Providence came into this game, Coach, averaging 85 points a game. They gave up 29 points, Rick Pitino's bunch, but they're only up a handful of points. Like, what's his message in the locker room right now?
You talking about Coach Pitino or?
Yeah, Coach Pitino. Like, they did what they had to do defensively, but you look up, Greg, and it's like, Providence still has a puncher's chance in this game.
No, I mean, look, Providence has got to feel good about where they are. I don't know that Providence played well. They didn't pass the ball well. They didn't share the ball well. It was all one-on-one offense. And they're down, 5? It's really, really good. So I think Pitino's just we got to continue to guard without fouling. Got to do a better job on the offensive guards. Keep doing what we do. Keep beating them in second chest point, and don't fall in love with the 3-ball.
One issue for St. John's, the Big East Player of the Year potentially is taking 2 shots.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Only played 12 minutes. So he's got to be more involved offensively for St. John's.
But also keep in mind, the way Coach Pitino has structured this particular team, they're a body blow team. They're not going to knock you out in the first couple.
So this is how they're going to have to win in the tournament.
Yeah, because they're not going to overwhelm you with three-point shooting.
Yep.
When I played for Coach Pitino and we pressed, when we got steals, deflections, it led to a 3-point shot. On this team, it's going to lead to a layup. So that's a much different way of personnel. So in my opinion, they're much more of a second-half team that overwhelms you in the painted area and with fast break points.
Yeah, you spoiled Rick Pitino. He would love to have you out there. Maybe not at this age.
I can still shoot it.
No doubt. Providence, they've had runs, 10-2 run, and then a 7-0 run. That's why they're still in this game, only down 5 at the half. Come back for more.
Points in the paint, man. That's where the game is won. That's where Iowa State's dominating. That's where Arizona should have gone in the last game.
Big slate of college hoops. Storm Friars, more in the second half. Brian Anderson, Grant Hill, take it away.
Hair Safe Light Replace.
There is no place like Madison Square Garden. This is special, guys. You're playing in that building. It's a different animal than anywhere else. It is a complete sellout. This is Big East basketball at its best. We are in the mecca of basketball, in the greatest city in the world.
Capital City in Rhode Island. We are in Providence. First of our doubleheader today, the Big East on TNT Sports, getting ready for the second half. St. John's leads it by 5. Providence, though, had a nice run at the end of that first half, a 7-0 spurt. Brian Anderson with Grant Hill, Andy Katz in a moment. And Grant, St. John's came out of the gates quickly. They were up 13 at one point, a lot of points in transition. What'd you see from Providence, though, there at the end?
Well, first of all, they valued the basketball. They stopped turning it over, getting opportunities to score. And then I thought also defensively did a solid job, the Friars. But the first 9 minutes for St. John's, they had 25 points, 10 of 17 from the field. Last 11 minutes of the game, only 9 points on 4 of 18. The Friars started to pack it in, forced St. John's to shoot from the perimeter where they struggled.
Bryce Hopkins, his return to Providence, where he starred in the past. Missed a couple of seasons with an ACL injury. It is Stephon Fox gets up the first shot of the second half, and we are off and running here. Providence handing St. John's their lone conference loss as Mitchell, that was blocked. Arunse gets the block. Another chance for St. John's, and we got a whistle. And free throws coming for Mitchell. Arunse just picked up his 3rd foul as we send it over to the king of Newport, Andy Katz.
Well, I had a chance to talk to that man right there, Kim English, as he's walking off the court. He felt pretty good about their half-court defense, not about their transition defense. Said they have to move the basketball around a little bit more, which we did not see on that first possession. As for St. John's, and chatting with assistant head coach Steve Masiello, he said, first off, they've got to do a better job on the backboard. Providence out-rebounding them 27-18, although they did score 11-2 on points off of turnovers. Got to finish around the rim a little bit better and take care of the basketball. That's the report from inside that locker room.
Good stuff, Andy. Thank you. On the follow, Ryan Mila goes down and scores it. quick housekeeping here. So they changed that foul from Arunse to Stefan Vox. That's good news for Providence. Jackson misses badly. Air ball. Takes it out of bounds, and it'll be Providence ball. And Grant, this is a 4-point game now.
Yeah, it is, and certainly concerning right now, since that 9-minute mark in the first half. It's really been kind of a lid on the basket for St. John's, unable to score. But this full court pressure causes a turnover. It looked like right there, Jameer Jones taking the ball out as Kim English looks on. Cannot move in that situation because it was a missed shot. It was an air ball on the previous play from Jackson.
There's James Breeding on the call. Turnover number 10 for Providence. St. John's will get the ball on their side of the floor. Osiah Sellers briefly went to the locker room. Like he turned his ankle. He's been okay. Second chance here. Zuby Ejiofor, no. And last touch by Mitchell. And it'll be Providence ball. And they withstand all of that. St. John's unable to score.
And in Providence, really, they haven't played great. I mean, they just lucky to be hanging around right now. Somehow only down 4 points. The offense hasn't clicked. See if they can handle this pressure and then try to beat the pressure with pace, getting downhill, getting quick shots, opportunities. See, when they get in the half court, this plays to St. John's hand.
Oswin Arunse is going back to the locker room. A three-pointer is good for Jalen Sellers. His first made three. Sellers had started this game 0 for 8, but he has made his last 3 field goal attempts, and that was his first 3 ball. Providence gets him going. It's going to be a much different story. 1-point game. St. John's with a lead. Pass too low. Mitchell kicks it out of bounds. St. John's with a turnover. And Providence with possession now and a chance to take the lead. Rick Pitino wants a timeout. The sellout crowd of 14,000 at Amica Mutual Pavilion. Seeing a little storm by their Friars right now.
College basketball all season long on TNT, True TV, and stream on HBO Max.
Keeping our eye here on Oswin Arunse, chugging down the Gatorade. He went back to the locker room briefly, got on the exercise bike as well. Came off the floor about 70 seconds into this second half, so we'll see how active he is. Materas Pennis getting some early minutes in this second half. And Arunse headed back in. There is an exercise bike back there, as you can see, and something is not right with Arunse. It is a 12-1 Providence run here, Grant, over the last 3 minutes going back into the first half, and they have a chance now with the ball to take the lead.
Part of it, once again, the defense from Providence. St. John's limited with their scoring. Look at Jones pushing here in transition.
And Jones in and out. That was halfway down. St. John's still with the lead, with the ball. Rick Pitino gets the timeout, sets it up. Jackson missed a 3. Into the hands of Sellers. Vox for 3. And a bouncing rebound to Osiah Sellers of St. John's.
St. John's needs a good look here. They need a good offensive possession. I think get the ball inside the Ejiofor. Let him get a touch.
Mid-range is in and out for Osiah Sellers. The lid is on it right now.
It really is.
35-34. Providence had one lead in this game, and it was 2-0. Scored the first basket of the game. Have not led since. Deflection by Hopkins. 16 to shoot. It'll be Providence ball.
And also Providence not turning the ball over. I mean, that was the story early on. Multiple turnovers, allowing St. John's to get out in transition. Easy buckets. They got up 25-12 as a result. Providence has fixed that and made sure not to have those live ball turnovers, which has played a huge role in their comeback.
St. John's at one point in the first half had a 13-point lead, 9 minutes into this game today. And it has been all Providence since. Late clock, down to 3. Mila, no. Long rebound, it is Jackson. Mila takes it away from him. Mila drives. Mila is fouled. Ryan Mila will go to the line. 2 free throws coming here.
And BA, you hear all the time, long shots lead to long rebounds. Mila jacked up a three-pointer there. Jackson just couldn't secure the rebound. I think he was thinking about getting out in transition on the fast break. I thought Vox there had great hands. Mila taking advantage.
Good free throw shooter, over 80% on the year. First one's down. Isaiah Sellers back on the floor for Shannon. Hey, cheer on your favorite Big East teams with officially licensed fan gear. For the best selection of team apparel and accessories, head to shopncaasports.com today. High arcing free throw. And Providence has their first lead since it was 2-0. And Amica Mutual Pavilion on its feet here. They always draw the big crowds, raucous crowds. One of the best environments in the Big East here.
Providence packing it in defensively. Guys sagging off their man. And great job by Mitchell attacking that, getting to that left hand. But you see what they've done. It's almost like a pack line defense. Sellers has lost his shoe right there. Basically playing defense with one shoe on.
And the other shoe in his hand. Mila picks up his dribble. Dennis, the 7-footer from Latvia. It's a scramble here for Providence. See if they can make something of it. Shot clock down to 9. Sellers. Jalen Sellers got it. They score it. It was a mess. But Sellers able to deliver a mid-range jumper, and Providence is back in front. Isaiah Sellers able to get his shoe back on.
That was impressive that he was actually playing defense there without the shoe off. But Sellers wasn't necessarily pretty, but effective there. Has a great shot fake. Was able to create a little separation there as he gets into the paint. He struggled in the first half. Sellers on that nice drive, hit a long 3 earlier. 0 for 8 for that young man first half. He started now. Since that, 4 of 4 from the field.
Arunse back on the floor for Providence. Hopkins turns it over. And they will let their former Friar hear about it. Hopkins, one of the big headliners coming in to play today. Great years at Providence, but he left the Friar program and went to St. John's inside the conference. Every time he's touched the ball today, they booed him.
They've been consistent with that, but right now it's just interesting. St. John's has kind of been floating on the offensive end. Just no life, no energy. This team has been so good as of late, struggling here.
Jones gets into the paint, drops his shoulder, missed it. Mitchell comes out of the pack with a rebound. Up ahead, Hopkins. Hopkins will take it himself, missed with the left hand. He had Sellers running with him. Sellers, oh, looking to do damage. And Darling secures. Wow. Dylan Darling drives, hangs, and is fouled. Got a bailout. Darling was out of control going to the basket. A foul called on Providence. Timeout on the floor. Free throws when we come back. This game's starting to spice up a little bit. Tim English. He's dealt St. John's their only loss in conference this year. Providence by a bucket.
Let's go, bud. Hurry up.
On CNC.
Student section starting to believe here at Providence College. And Providence up a point. Couple of free throws coming for St. John's. Granted, been a number of tough losses for Providence. They've had so many games in the grasp that they couldn't finish. Those 4 overtime games, lost in double overtime to Butler, OT to UConn, had that game in the bag, and then the overtime loss against Marquette. So many close games, clutch time games that they have not been able to finish. They have fought their way back, and they lead at 38-37 as we await free throws here from Dylan Darling. And let's send it over to Andy Katz.
Well, and that's part of the reason that this crowd is packed. there's so much passion for the Friars here in Providence in the state of Rhode Island. They still believe in this team, and as Rick Pitino was telling us earlier, he believes that this team has enough talent to still win games, to be a dangerous team that could win in the Big East. And by the way, this is all happening this afternoon without Jason Edwards, a 17-point scorer who's out with a foot injury, the grad transfer from Vanderbilt. So you add him back in at some point, and you see how much talent is here. They've just been unable to close games.
You said it best, Andy. This team, dangerous, explosive. They're really like a gunslinger mentality with the way they approach the offense. You don't really see that here on display in this game. They're more than capable of going on a nice run. Nothing to lose, if you will, in the Big East tournament.
Jalen Sellers keeps his dribble, working on Osiah Sellers, and he's a buyer, Grant.
He is.
Sellers against Sellers.
Oh,
and Jalen puts it in. Got a block. Arunse got a hand on that. And that's going to be a foul on Darling. Providence in front. Foul on Dylan Darling. This Providence team, Grant, 10 losses in the Big East. 7 of the 10 losses by 6 points or less. And 3 of those losses coming in overtime in conference play.
You hear Sellers on Sellers there. Just big boy them, create some space.
Oh, too little.
Little fake cousins going at it. But you said it best, those losses. I mean, in clutch time, they are allowing their opponent to shoot 52% from the field and 43% on three-pointers. So it's the defense down the stretch that has really, I think, hurt them in those moments. And if they can clean that up between now and the Big East tournament, then with the way they shoot the ball and score on the offensive end, they have a chance. They have a chance here today, excuse me.
They're in it. After being down as many as 13, nice run to the rim. Jones leaves it off, and a bad pass. I tell you, that was some play by Dylan Darling. He knew where the only other option was for the pass and jumped the lane. Such a smart player.
It was a little pocket pass, and then read that the man was floating on the baseline, just sacrificing his body.
6 to shoot. Jalen Sellers up and over Darling. No good. Darling with a rebound, and here come the Red Storm. Hopkins running the floor. Hopkins, and he is whacked.
Whoa.
Hard foul. Hopkins springs up, and it is on the baseline. Powell just took a swing.
It's not good.
There were elbows flying everywhere. And this is going to take a while to unravel. We might get some ejections here.
The VA in that first game in the Garden, you had a dust up between Powell and Ejiofor in front of the Providence bench. And then that right there, not the kind of play you want. A hard foul.
Officials are going to send both teams to their bench. They are going to pour through video, you would imagine. Obviously, players leaving the bench, getting into the mix. A lot of coaches came in to try to keep the peace. Hard foul on Hopkins. Hopkins sprung up quickly, squared up on Duncan Powell, and it was on.
The call on the floor is a flagrant 2 foul on 31 White. He's ejected. The play is under review for additional penalties.
That's James Breeding, lead official here. So Powell is automatically out on a flagrant 2.
As he should be. That's not what you want in this game. That was not a hard foul. He went for the body in that situation. Of course, at the end, tried to act like he was helping him up, but a lot of activity afterwards from both teams. A lot of emotion in this building, a lot of emotion because of Hopkins here. And that was a dirty play.
Yeah.
To wind up over the head and the face, and then tries to stand over him. And after there, it's an absolute mess as players, coaches, everyone. And you see some punches that look like were thrown and words being exchanged. It's unfortunate because both teams have been playing hard and playing the right way. But this right here, that's unacceptable.
Easy call, automatic ejection, right to the head.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that at any level.
Andy, that was right down on the baseline where you were standing.
Yeah, there's no question that Powell was looking for him as he was coming in to clothesline him, and then Sellers escalated it, and obviously, as you saw there, it got really ugly. Kim English having to come down. We've got 3 Providence police officers that are surrounding, actually 4 now, that are surrounding the St. John's team to make sure to sort of keep the peace. We got the student section that it almost feels like they're surging right behind me, and you can see how tense the situation is. We got police officers also at the scorer's table guarding the officials, and one by the Providence bench. This was getting ugly. You can tell you the St. John's crew here, they are surrounding Hopkins. Hopkins seems to be fine, but his teammates are all right around him, patting him on. They got his back. And Zuby Ejiofor, preseason Big East Player of the Year, potentially the Big East Player of the Year. He is leading this group. He is rallying his team right around them to make sure they obviously try right now in a 1-point game that they're down to try to finish the job. This is definitely motivated the St. John's team at this point.
Yeah, Andy, to your point, look, right now the officials are reviewing. There'll be some others, I think, who will be ejected in addition to Powell for all the antics that occurred. And you see the late stuff there, the words being exchanged. Right here, it looked like Powell tried to swing. You saw Mitchell duck. And I'm sure Val Ackerman, Big East commissioner, will review this, and there may be some suspensions along with ejections as a result of this play.
I'm with you. Again, we're watching all of this just as the officials are. James Breeding, Tony Chiazza, Nathan Farrell. Powell definitely the aggressor. He's already been ejected.
And thankfully, as bad as that was, it could have been a lot worse.
I tell you, first of all, the security force here, the police force and the security officers came in, did a great job. And let's give credit to both coaching staffs as well. Assistant coaches coming in, trying to grab players and pull them back as fast as they could.
BA, if I can jump in here, what's also happening behind me is you've got the student section directing their ire at the St. John's family and friends, and now we've got security that are sort of in the area where the St. John's fans are in this corner, and we got the students sort of yelling back and forth over to the St. John's family and friends and fans. So we've got security in that corner, we got security on the court, we got police officers trying to sort of keep the peace over this final 14 minutes.
Tensions are high. Good reporting there, Andy. It does bear mentioning that the 3 officials on the floor, as they go through this video here, they're the ones who have to make the determinations for the rest of this game. Meaning, unlike the NBA, there's no help center right now. There's no replay center. And they are going through all of the sequences that we just showed you of this play, trying to go individual players. And as we mentioned, Duncan Powell's already been ejected. I'm not sure if he knows that yet. Might be best to get him off the floor. And in case you're just picking us up, ugly foul.
Yeah, that was not good.
And then it started. Osiah Sellers came in with a push. That got Jalen Sellers and got Powell more involved. That swing by Powell at Dylan Mitchell, it could be the one that gets him suspended. See Nathan Farrell, one of the officials, pointing out to Rick Pitino a player or 2. So he's alerted him on what will happen to the St. John's side. We're waiting on an official announcement from James Breeding. Tensions are high here. You worry about the fans. You worry about the crowd here. I do think there has been a fan that has just been taken away.
You see the St. John's players all looking over to their family section. Something happening over there in the stands.
Okay, they're now trying to eject this Providence fan, and they have ejected him. The St. John's had called over to make sure that security had ejected him. So now he's exiting.
Yeah. That's the guy they were looking for right there. So he will be escorted out.
A lot went on there, and how you determine who possibly will get an ejection, a technical. I know Jalen Sellers was pushing a bit.
Yeah.
Dylan Mitchell pushed. Ozziah Sellers as well. Do they get a penalty? Flagrant foul, possibly technical, ejection. All that is on the table right now, and there's a lot to break down from that melee there.
Let me ask you this from a basketball perspective. A lot of standing around right now.
Right.
This is a hockey arena as well. There's ice under this floor. It is a cold arena,
right?
Comparatively speaking. Players doing all they can to stretch it out and stay loose, but it's tough to restart it when you're kind of waiting to see what your personnel is going to look like.
Well, it's tougher for you and I because we're older, but these young guys.
That's a good point.
But, you know, how you come back from this. First of all, what are the penalties?
Yeah.
Who remains in the game, who doesn't? And then who uses this and is able to channel this, you know, for this stretch run here. Last 14 will be interesting, but.
Just the officials, I believe, are trying to see if anybody left the bench.
Well, you see the coaches for St. John's there are desperately trying to.
You're only allowed to have the coaches leave the bench in college basketball, not the players.
Well, because
so they're right now, I can tell you right now, they went over at one point to, you know, because there's some players that you can't see their number because they got their shooting shirts on.
Yeah.
They want to see what number they are. And they're literally right now with a pen and paper writing down some numbers here as they sort of chart what they're going to do in terms of any kind of penalties going forward, but they're literally writing down numbers as they're watching the video.
I'd say Kelvin Odie, number 5, and for St. John's would be a candidate. He was being held back as best as they could over there on that coaching sideline. Even Rick Pitino was right in the middle of it. He's seen a few battles here. He was telling us a story earlier about when he was coaching at Providence. He almost got in a fist fight on the floor in the middle of the game with John Thompson. He goes, that wouldn't have gone well for me.
Yeah, that's not a good fight there over Rick Pitino. But the story was great.
John Thompson told him after the game, he said, hey, I was just trying to get my team fired up. I'm really proud of what you're doing with my alma mater.
Oh, man.
Players getting a chance to warm up a little bit. So they're just taking a look at players who are coming off the bench, as Andy reported. We're 11 minutes into this delay. Happy Valentine's Day, Grant. It's the day of love. Yeah.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to you.
Ah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure you were going to say it back.
I think we need to balance out this last 12 minutes with
a lot of tension here.
A lot of
right
tension,
now.
yes. You know.
James Breeding, Tony Chiazza, Nathan Farrell in the hot seat right now. This is where at the collegiate level these officials have a much more difficult time without the help of a replay center. Now if it was the NCAA tournament, you'd have an extra official, an alternate official who'd be able to queue up a lot of the replays you want to see, who's now part of the game official group. We will wait with you. At some point, James Breeding on the left will make an announcement about the ejections. We know Duncan Powell has been ejected. And they got the pad of paper with the names. And James Breeding is going to bring the 2 head coaches over to go through the carnage here. Going through each infraction. This might go down as the longest official public address announcement in the history of the Big East. I think there's a laundry list that James Breeding's going to have to go through here. Clearly.
He had a big piece of paper there with a lot of names, it appears, to be on there. And the discussion here with the head coaches, it seems to be civil.
And you've got both athletic directors, by the way, right here. Steve Napaloo from Providence, Ed Cool from St. John's. They're right here. Very cordial, by the way. They get along very well. But they're right here observing to see what's going to happen.
I saw you trying to sneak in there, Andy. You might have caught an elbow.
I know. I was trying.
No, you don't need to catch an elbow. You're in your hometown here. Just
Andy Katz is neutral.
Yeah. Duncan Powell with a hard foul, hit with a flagrant 2 immediately. And ejected. Tony Chiazza coming over here to discuss.
Start with the easy one. We got 5, 17, 31 for St. John's. Ejected for leaving the bench area. Okay? We have a contact technical on number 1 for St. John's, Mitchell. We have a flagrant 2 technical on Sellers from Providence. He's gone. And 31, where it all started, ejected for fighting.
One more time.
We got 5, 17, and 31 for St. John's ejected for leaving the bench.
Got it.
We've got a segment dead ball tackle on Mitchell, number 1 for St. John's. Okay. Then we have a dead ball flagrant 2 on Sellers from Providence. He is gone. Flagrant 2 is ejection. And then 31, flagrant 2 for fighting. He's ejected.
Tony Chiazza, appreciate that. Tony Chiazza,
you were right.
Yeah, I had to go in my own notepad. So 3 players from St. John's ejected. If you weren't able to hear all of that, Powell's been ejected, and Jalen Sellers has been ejected with flagrant 2s for Providence. The 3 St. John's players that are ejected for leaving the bench is Kelvin Odie, Ruben Prey, and Lefteris Leotopoulos. So those 3 are out. And then there's a dead ball technical on Dylan Mitchell. So 2 ejections for Providence, 3 ejections for St. John's, and we'll have free throws on this side of the floor. Obviously, Hopkins is going to shoot 2 free throws for being fouled in the first place.
Well, right now, the two of the 3 on the bench for St. John's who were ejected really are somewhat out of the rotation. Ruben Prey is an integral part. Dylan Mitchell's gone.
Tony Chiazza just comes over. So Dylan Mitchell is also gone with a flagrant 2. That was not a dead ball technical. So it's actually 4 St. John's players, if you want the final roster. 4 St. John's players, flagrant 2s, all ejected. 2 for Providence. Hopkins will shoot free throws here in a moment.
I was going to say Mitchell and Prey are part of the rotation, much like Powell and Jalen Sellers are for Providence. Just an unfortunate sequence here, and Sellers here, once he got the news that he was tossed, upset. A lot of frustration on that young man, but
well, I can tell you, I was right here under the basket. There's no question that right after Powell, hit Hopkins and brought him down, Sellers was right there. I mean, Sellers was, from the Providence side, was definitely, elevating it. So I'm not surprised at all that his situation, there's the takedown from Powell, the flagrant 2 and the ejection. Hopkins reacts, and then you're going to see Sellers come in here as this play. There he goes.
Pushed him.
And then Sellers goes after and continues right there with Zuby, and then Sellers continues, and they have to hold back Sellers, and Sellers continued, you'll see, as they try to hold him back. So I'm not surprised at all that he ended up being ejected as well.
And Dillon Mitchell, too. Dillon Mitchell pushing Sellers before Powell swung on him as well is probably what led to his flagrant 2 as well.
31.
Let's listen in. James Breeding.
Providence for a flagrant 2 personal foul. He also receives a technical foul for fighting. Number 1 for St. John's is ejected for a flagrant technical foul. Number 2 for Providence is ejected for a flagrant technical foul. Number 2, 5, and 17 for St. John's are ejected for coming off the bench. There's no penalty because they did not participate.
So the officials are aligned here, just what we heard from Tony Chiazza. We appreciate Tony coming over to explain to us at the table, and you just heard James Breeding make that announcement to the crowd here. We're going to have 4 free throws coming, I believe. Hopkins still has his 2 free throws from the initial foul, and I believe there will be 2 more after that. 2 Providence players ejected, 4 St. John's players ejected when it's all said and done. And Hopkins calmly knocks in the first free throw to tie the game at 40 as we get back to play. The delay, Grant, was 19 minutes. 2 for 2.
There's a lot to sort out there, and I think for the most part the officials got it right. Now let's see if we can have cooler heads prevail and get back to just playing some good competitive basketball for both teams.
These are the technical foul shots now. Andy?
Just to clear up a rule, when you are ejected for fighting, it is deemed an automatic suspension per NCAA rules for the next game. So Duncan Powell fits into that category because he was specifically said he was ejected for fighting.
Good call, Andy. And you heard James Breeding say it just that way. St. John's with possession here. Both coaches are short, and on the inbounds, Oziah Sellers lays it in. So after all of that, St. John's comes away, a 19-minute delay, a fight. They lead it by 4. Driving is Jameer Jones. Hargrove, offensive rebound, second chance here for Providence. And Darling takes it away from Mila. Darling steps into a wide open 3, and he reins it in. 8-0 run for St. John's.
Got to stop the ball in transition, and right after that whole melee, it's been all St. John's free throws, executing out of the inline, out of bounds play. Great defense, and of course, the Darling. Yes, it's Valentine's Day. Dillon from 3. The Red Storm flying high.
Boy, what a swing that was. St. John's up 7. They were down 1 when Hopkins was fouled by Duncan Powell. That flagrant 2 foul, they got Powell ejected. They go down. They hit 3 of the 4 free throws coming out of the 19-minute delay after the scrum. And then they get the 2-point baseline out of bounds. They lead it by 7. Jones breaks free, and count that, and a foul. Oziah Sellers, a foul on the head. And it's going to send Jameer Jones to the line for a 3-point play. And what a Grant Hilliard-like pass.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, Box could have been a quarterback right there. Nice little set from Kim English. You know, St. John's has been putting somebody on the ball and face guarding and going long right there. Try to loosen up that pressure.
Big sequence there for Providence. Crowd's back in it. 4-point game. Ejiofor. He'll take it himself. Mid-range jumper, no good, and a foul. It's going to stay on this end of the floor. Fouls on Providence.
It looked like on that play, Bryce Hopkins had inside position. And Hargrove maybe pushed him in the back. I'm not sure if that was Hargrove or Runse.
It's Hargrove they got, Grant.
That's 4 fouls there.
And Mila's got to come in for Hargrove.
It's a shame because Hargrove has done some really good things with his activity on the offensive end. You know, offensive rebounding there, extending possessions, and now he has to sit.
St. John's with the ball here. They lead it by 4. Boy, these officials have remained calm in the storm.
Yes, they have.
All the ejections to be credited. Good work. That's going to be no whistle there. Sounded like it, but Darling, he thought he heard a foul. He fires a 3, makes it.
They're going to review, too. It looked like there's some physicality on the interior. You saw Ejiofor on the ground. So the 3-pointer went in. And a reoccurring theme here, the officials back at the monitor.
And you can take a look whether his foot was on the line or not. It was a strange sequence. Yeah. I think Darling thought he was fouled, or at least thought there was going to be a whistle. He stopped for a moment.
A nice little set there. And kind of just a little bump with the lower body. His feet were behind the line, but look at the physicality inside.
Yeah.
The question is, did Arunse throw Ejiofor down to the ground? It could be a common foul. I don't think it's anything.
Again, it's not something in the collegiate game. You go to the monitor and look at a foul. You can look to see if there was a flagrant 1 deserved, but not just a regular play that you can assign a foul to. Darling had some contact as well.
Well, I think because of what happened, these officials are going to look to control things, and anything that looks remotely possible or can be escalated, they are going to do what they have to do to contain it.
So nothing there. Darling hits a 3-pointer. It's a 7-point game. St. John's in front. What a wild second half. Fox picked up by Sellers. Providence best player and the player of the week in the Big East. Jalen Sellers has been ejected. 6 players in all ejected from this game. Logo 3-pointer misses. Wrestling for the rebound is Daniels. Daniels keeps his dribble. Double teamed. And Darling rips it out of his hands. Held ball. Possession arrow belongs to St. John's.
A great hustle by both of these guards. Daniels going in there on the glass and just taking it away there from Bryce Hopkins. And then the pursuit from Darling. Not quitting. He and Ejiofor double teaming Daniels and just getting his hands in there and trying to fight for the ball right now.
I beg your pardon. It's possession arrow Providence. Actually, they called a foul on Darling. And now a turnover. Sannon gets the steal. One official had a held ball. The other had a foul. And that's a block. Darling is rejected. Last touch by the Red Storm. Providence ball.
And good defense there by Ryan Mila there. Sliding his feet. A late contest. Darling getting downhill, trying to get to the rim, draw the foul.
Kim English with some stern instructions for Mila on his way to the bench. Almost a 5-second call, throws it away. Zuby Ejiofor can't secure it, and it'll be Providence ball.
Yeah, and I wonder if he was thinking about the half-court line right there as he was attempting to catch that errant pass from Providence and just lost vision of the ball, and almost a turnover for St. John's there. But that relentless press, full court, just wears you down over the course of a 40-minute game.
Little used Jack Williams is in the game for Providence, a former 4-year student manager at UCLA. Darling gets the steal and lays it in. Darling, coming out of the fight, has been the best player right now for St. John's. He scored the last 8 points. Darling is all over Daniels. Daniels picks up his dribble. In scramble mode here, you're minus your key ball handlers. Jameer Jones with Hopkins defending. That one misses, but a free throw coming for Jameer Jones. He'll have 2.
Yeah, just a casual pass right there, and Darling, you said it best. Coming out of the altercation, he has been the best player. His energy, his intensity there on display. Great anticipation is impacting winning. We talked about him at the start. He's gained the trust of Rick Pitino and this squad and has become a closer at the point guard position for the Red Storm.
Well, Kim English, whatever he had in mind for Mila, he's made his point. Mila's back on the floor. Bryce Hopkins picks up the foul there. Jones, who had flu-like symptoms and missed Wednesday's game against Seton Hall, is into double figures, 2 free throws. St. John's leads it by 7. Here's Santa now. He pulls the 3. Comes up short. Fox with a rebound. Fox probing. Got Hopkins on him. Fox with Hopkins right with him step for step. Good defense. Now Jones. He's got a mismatch in height on Darling. Fumbling the ball is Arunse. And there's going to be a foul. It's going to be on Ejiofor. Arunse trying to carve out some space. Woo. Rough and tumble Big East action today on TNT. We've had a fight, 6 ejections. We got 11:36 left in regulation, and St. John's by 7.
Galaxy.
Well, what a battle this is on a Saturday afternoon in Providence, Rhode Island. St. John's leads 52-45. Don't forget, you can tune in to March Madness Men's Tournament beginning March 17th on TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV, and all streams on HBO Max. You can watch us crown a champion at the Final Four April 4th and 6th on TBS. Grant Hill will be there. 2 Final Fours in this program's history. The great Dave Gavitt, the OG of the Big East. And of course, Rick Pitino took that 87 team with Billy Donovan, Billy the Kid. The 2 Final Four appearances for Providence, and Rick Pitino now trying to become the first coach to take 4 different programs to a Final Four. First free throw's good. Oswin Arunse hits the first of 2. Just a 58% free throw shooter. Arunse's been dealing with foul trouble and cramping in the legs. If I had to make a guess, he came out of the game early in the second half, was trying to stretch, get on the bike, drinking a lot of fluids. So that 19-minute delay for the fight might have helped him. Sellers hits a long 2 for St. John's.
And a nice set there. Get the ball side to side, get Sellers coming off of a down screen. Getting him involved, knocking down some shots to loosen up that defense.
This crowd is quieted down. Fox trying to get him loud again. What a shot! Fox with an impressive finish. Gets tied up in the cheerleaders. Going off glass. It was Fox who took over for Providence in Providence's win at Madison Square Garden. Shocking St. John's. Oh, that's tough. That Zuby Ejiofor.
That was tough, and he needs to get going. You know, only 6 points now after that basket. Been relatively quiet out here. Give credit to the bigs of Providence, which caused problems.
Daniel's going to get a lot of playing time here in the second half. Fox essentially the point guard. Providence is not a team that has a traditional point guard anyway. Mila missed it. Mila gets it back. Finishes with a left hand.
Yeah, great persistence there by Mila. Did not quit. Oftentimes the shooter knows where the ball's going to go and is able to get the rebound and put back.
Providence is +5 in the offensive rebounding category. Shannon missed it. Mila with a rebound.
Almost a foul there by Ejiofor on that offensive rebound attempt.
6-point game. Fox shows it, and now they'll get it organized. Fox running the show here, the freshman.
Legal screen. Jones a little too handsy there, setting a screen on Bryce Hopkins.
Another turnover for Providence. That is their 13th.
Just pushed him. I mean, that's an easy call right there. And Fox frustrated. Missed opportunity on that possession. Now a little zone action, which we saw some in the first half by Providence, which worked to their success.
This is where you're starting to get into the bench minutes for St. John's. They've lost 4 players, 2 of them bench players. That one misses. Hopkins. Out of the pack comes Jameer Jones. Pushes it into traffic, into Fox's hands. Fox misses a three. Hopkins with a rebound.
They are letting them fight inside. Arunse thought he got fouled.
Inside, Ejiofor. Strong bucket by Zuby Ejiofor.
And that's smart. Get the ball inside. High percentage. Ejiofor allows you to score and set up your defense here against the Friars.
8 points for Ejiofor. It is 23 minutes. There goes Mila once again. Tough shot. Mila scores. Mila. Another one off the glass. Right back at him, St. John's. Their lead is 6. 8.5 to go. Darling will pull a three. He's fouled on a three-pointer. Daniels fouls him. And Dylan Darling is going to the line for 3.
Well, great recognition. St. John's overloaded the right side against that zone of Providence. Swung it to the corner, got it back. Daniels, the attempt was right. You want to close out to Darling, who's played so well here since the altercation. You just got to be smart with your closeout and not make contact on a three-point shooter.
How about Dylan Darling leading the Johnnies right now in scoring? Can't hit that one. He's got 15, 10 of those coming in the second half. He's hit 3 big three-pointers. James Green coming in with a stern word for Oswin Arunse right there. Interesting. Bleacher Report, your one-stop destination for all things college basketball. Get live scores, breaking news, and highlights from today's games. You can download the BR app now. No doubt there'll be a lot of coverage on the scrum that was here. Leotopoulos back in for St. John's as we kick it over to Andy.
Rick Pitino loves this guy right here, Dylan Darling. And there was one point during the season when he was in a little bit of a mini slump and lost some confidence, and Rick called him in and said, come on, you were the Big Sky Player of the Year a year ago. If you got to get a little more on your shot, that's fine, but you should not lose your confidence. And he has empowered him to what we've been seeing over the last month with the St. John's team, and he's been one of the big reasons why St. John's has turned their season around. He loves him. He's not calling him Billy the Kid yet, but he loves that energy and that enthusiasm and that fight that Dylan Darling has.
Well, he has played like Billy the Kid the last few minutes here. Just been sensational as St. John's called for a foul in the backcourt with their press, but it's remarkable really to see the transformation. Darling struggled mightily, couldn't really get in the flow. They started him for some games. He just was not playing well, and since that conversation, it's been sensational and has helped them win games over this last stretch of games over the last couple months, and such a key figure. And he's really the only true point guard on this squad. So sets the table, makes big shots, plays with confidence. The team will love him.
Fox, couple of free throws. Interesting that Leotopoulos is on the floor. We were told that Leotopoulos was one of the players ejected. Clearly that's not the case. That could have been the late switch of players to Dylan Mitchell. And Leotopoulos is available, and he comes up short. Ejiofor backs his way in. Nothing there against a 7-footer. Pettis holds his ground. Ejiofor, shot fake, drives, gets a step. Ejiofor gets to the basket.
And smart. He backed down the 7-footer, didn't have anything, relocated the ball, then took him out on the perimeter and used his quickness to get by.
Vox is fouled by Leotopoulos. 62-54 St. John's. We got a war going on here in Providence Grand.
Yes, indeed, a war. Great shot fake. The big fella gets to the rim. Back and forth action here in Providence.
What are you made of?
What if the answer isn't just about defining who you are,
but about elevating what you can become
and pushing beyond boundaries?
Rising above
and transforming yourself.
Now is the time.
Your time to elevate yourself because you are meant to rise.
St. John's University.
Education that elevates.
(62-54), wild one here in Providence. We had a 19-minute delay after a fight on the floor and multiple ejections. So I just want to clean this up because, Grant, we were told that Lefteris Leotopoulos was ejected. That is not the case. Tony Chiazza just came over, said, my bad. It was actually Ibn Ayo who was ejected. So those are the 4 players that were ejected for St. John's. Jalen Sellers and Duncan Powell for Providence. It is 6 players ejected, but the one mistake that we got from the officials was Leotopoulos, who's clearly not ejected because he's in the game. It was Ibn Ayo. So there's a lot on their plates as well. We appreciate the info.
I appreciate you and the clarification there. I was confused myself.
He said there'd be no math today. Well, we got a good game. Vox at the free throw line.
And back-to-back possessions where St. John's fouls Vox out in the open court. Allows him to get to the line. So St. John's has to be better guarding without fouling.
It's back over to Andy Katz.
All right, so just for some procedures and protocols, what will happen next? We know Duncan Powell has to miss the next game because NCAA rules if you're ejected for fighting. We know that. What the Big East will do, they will review the book. How was it recorded in the book? And then they will review the film if they're going to add any more suspensions or disciplinary action to what occurred here this afternoon.
Good stuff, Andy. Great reporting today on all that is going on here. It's got a foul on Providence and free throws coming. It'll be a 1-and-1 situation here. Daniels called for the foul, and Darling will shoot the free throws.
Nice little set there from Rick Pitino. Just get the ball to one side, get it back to Darling. Now you got a high screw roll action with Darling and Ejiofor, and Darling just constantly probing, forces the defense to foul.
Let's talk a little personnel here, Grant, as Darling hits the first, because we just laid out the ejections. Now you're kind of in the window of the game where, you know, you might see a Ruben Prey for St. John's, their 7-footer, their backup center off the bench. Obviously, Mitchell is one of their key players. He's not available. And then you got 2 guys for Providence, the guy who's the reigning Big East Player of the Week, and Jalen Sellers, and of course Duncan Powell. So both coaches are going to have to scramble to find the right pieces now down the stretch.
I think you're absolutely correct. I think Ejiofor, he rides it out. He's going to play the remaining part of this game. You really missed Jalen Sellers and his shot-making ability. He struggled early, but got it going. He was really knocking down some shots, getting into the paint. Now you're putting a lot on Vox to make things happen.
Pettis can't hit it from inside. Dylan Darling at the controls now, running the point for St. John's. He scored 14 this second half. He's got 19 total. Hopkins left open, 3-pointer, no good. Vox with a rebound, up ahead, running the floor. Mila, look at Darling, swipe it out of his hands. Darling not giving up on the play. What a game he's having. What a half he's put together.
It's incredible. I mean, that wasn't his man, but he saw the outlet there as Mila got out, and just the hands, the anticipation there, not quitting at all. Darling. It is Valentine's Day. Oh, Darling.
Yeah, I like it. I like what you did there. Idaho State transfer. Big Sky Player of the Year last year, and he's looking like it right now. St. John's leads it by 9. Providence with the ball. Mila getting a step, dropping the shoulder, and bully ball to get to the basket.
Yeah, and he has had his way there in that matchup. Mila, 6'7", just getting to his right hand and making it look easy at the rim.
Mila had 19 against UConn. He's been great against the big boys of the conference. Darling comes up short. Ejiofor secures the loose ball. Ejiofor taking on Pettis now. He finds Hopkins. Hopkins gets the booze. And a foul. Free throws coming here. It'll be a 1-and-1 as Jones commits the foul.
Mila right there, just big boys and gets to the rim and trying to flex a little bit. Okay. All right. Everybody has the antics in the college game, the NBA game these days. They didn't do that as much back in the day.
Well, Hopkins' injuries and subsequent exit from Providence really opened the door for Mila as Hopkins misses the first. Double bonus rest of the way for both teams, by the way. Hopkins got off to a great start. Points, rebounds, and steals in the first 5 minutes. He's cooled somewhat since. 1 out of 2 for Hopkins. Providence down 8 with the ball. 6:20 left in regulation. Marquette and Xavier, second of our doubleheader, coming up as soon as we're done here. Fox checked by Ozzie Sellers. Fox, ton of dribbling, missed it. Rebound, Hargrove with those 4 fouls. Fox for 3, no good. Sand and Skies for the rebound. St. John's can go back up double figures here. Ozzie Sellers steps into a mid-range jumper, cash.
And that's so hard to defend there. The dribble handoff with Ejiofor and Sellers. Sellers gets downhill to that sweet spot. Hargrove in that drop coverage. And that's Sellers' game. Going left, pull up from mid-range.
New York City, world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden, the home of the Big East tournament.
You guys have a chance to be part of the greatness. Are you telling me there's no magic in this house tonight? The best basketball conference in the country, bar none. That's why we came here.
If you're looking for Marquette and Xavier, that's going to start over on True TV. 3:12 p.m. Eastern tip. Shaka Smarts Group. Had some outstanding wins as of late. Young squad taking on a Xavier team that gave St. John's all it can handle. Brian Anderson not once but twice. Let's go out to Providence where things have certainly been chippy.
Ooh, a little spicy, Tim Doyle, just the way he likes them. Still some activity in the stands. We've had a few fan ejections. There have been 6 players ejected. And we play on here. Testy would be a good word.
I'd like to see Jameer Jones get the ball. He's had success with his strong drives and getting to the free throw line.
5.5 to go. Jones on call. Good call, Grant. Jones does get the ball. He's going back to the line now. Since the altercation, St. John's is plus 11. They've outscored Providence 28-17. Remember, at the time of that foul by Duncan Powell, that flagrant 2 on Hopkins, Providence was up 1. St. John's has had control since. Darling has been the big piece. He scored 12 of the 28 in that run.
And you make a great point. I mean, St. John's was up. You go and have a hard foul on one of your players, a guy who had experience here and has been heated, the crowd. Your teammates will rally when something like that happens. And St. John's, and particularly Darling, have all stepped up here as a result of that. Kind of poked the bear. You got to be careful when that happens, particularly against a good team.
5.5 to go in regulation, and a wild one here in Providence. Darling's been a star off the bench. Here's Ozzie Sellers. In and out it goes. And a foul by Shannon.
Wow.
Spring loaded.
I mean, he's a shooter. I didn't realize he had that bounce in him.
Fox right back. Had it stripped away. Darling once again. 3-on-1. Here's Ejiofor. He's fouled. And he's pushed. And Jameer Jones has just been tossed. A frustration foul. And it's going to be the 3rd Friar to get ejected from this game. And Kim English cannot believe what he just saw from Jameer Jones.
Kim English ran out onto the floor, certainly trying to prevent anything from escalating there. And you saw there just the push with 2 hands.
White number 5 has been ejected for a flagrant 2 foul, 2 shots for St. John's ball.
But a blatant push is just not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's not indicative of this program. Looks like the crowd under the basket is chirping with Bryce Hopkins. Rick Pitino is just encouraging him to keep his cool, stay composed, and finish the job if you're St. John's.
Well, this is getting risky right now. The student section, Hopkins, there's a fan in the front row that was having words with Hopkins. He's been ejected now.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on this side where the coaching staff, by the way, did a great job of making sure the St. John's players did not go on the court. But the student section is right there, and the police, Providence police, have been on top of this because they've also had to move. Right behind me right now, they're actually moving St. John's fans down from that corner because they were opposite all the students. And now a lot of the St. John's fans are actually exiting back the tunnel to get them out of this area because it's been really testy here in this corner between the student section and where the St. John's fans are.
Thank you, Andy. Ejiofor misses the technical foul shot. I just noticed James Breeding, the lead official, come over and talk to Hopkins as if to say, look, don't escalate. Just play the game. Just don't escalate. It's getting a little bit in the danger zone for me, Grant. Just the way, just the tenor of the building right now.
I agree with you right now. You see the foul there, and Ejiofor on the ground almost in disbelief, but the energy in here and just the feel is not good at all.
I would imagine you're going to hear a lot of fouls, hear that whistle quite a bit. Just trying to make sure there's no more extra physical play. Kim English down 3 players. Rick Pitino's down 4 players. 7 ejections in this game. Arunse just picked up his 3rd foul. And Ejiofor misses again.
And I think before the altercation, as you see once again, the players from both teams that were ejected after that altercation. But I thought up until then, the way the game was called, fair, they was controlled. And some unfortunate, a bad eye in the Big East as a result of that, unfortunately.
Mila able to save it.
Oh, great save.
Now Mila picks up the dribble, puts up a tough shot. Hopkins out of the pack. Ejiofor running with him. Hopkins drives. Oh, what a play. Daniels out of bounds, but he stripped it in the air. He lands with his back on the baseline. That was some play.
Well, Daniels anticipated. He went up first. He jumped before Hopkins got in the air and just met him up high. See, as you see, Daniels goes in the air, jumps, and then gets his hand on the ball, almost a steal. A block or a steal. Block / steal.
Darling finds Hopkins, 3-pointer, air ball. And they will love that. The guy they came to boo has given him an air ball.
So you come to a game to boo someone on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
That's the beauty of sports.
Does it bring back memories for you in the NBA?
Oh, yeah.
Like when you went back to Orlando?
Back to Orlando. They booed every time I had the ball in layup line. Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, they kept throwing me the ball when I was in the rebounding line.
Just to hear him boo you.
Just to hear him boo. It's kind of fun.
There's a foul. Ejiofor knocks Vox to the ground. I was just with you in Orlando last Monday. You got a nice standing ovation when they introduced you.
Well, you know,
they love you now.
Time heals wounds, you know. I think.
Doesn't heal ankles, but it heals wounds.
Oh, no. The ankles only get worse.
Vox played the heavy minutes in this second half, having to take over as the point guard. Jalen Sellers was ejected in that fight. And Vox adds another one. He's got 14 now.
And look, this game is not out of reach at all. I mean, Providence, with their shooting and their ability to score the basketball, they are within striking distance. They're going to have to, of course, get stops this last 4 minutes and 18 seconds. And you said it best. I think Vox he's tired. I mean, he's had to do so much. He's got multiple guys out of the game. Sellers is gone. Jones is gone. Vox is really the only one giving him life.
Good shot over there on the bench. Steve Masiello having a word with Bryce Hopkins. I'm sure Rick Pitino would love for St. John's to get on another run and put this one away and leave Hopkins on the bench.
I think it's smart he took him out. You know, just a lot of emotion, a lot of chatter going on. Of course, Darling just continues to take over.
Man, Darling's made for it. What a half he's put together. Got him up 13 right now. Mila in the paint. Mila puts up a wild shot. Put back by Arunse. St. John's lead is 11, 3.5 to go. Multiple fan ejections, 7 player ejections. Isaiah Sellers, no. And Arunse tips it to Mila. If Providence has a kick in them, the time is now. Vox, and blocked by Sandin. And it's last touch. Oh, a technical on Sandin. I think they just threw him out. He had a little taunt at the end, and the way this game is going, these officials are taking no chances. Sandin's been tossed.
I don't know if he's been tossed. We'll find out. I think he just got a tech. We'll see.
We'll see. Definitely got a tee. It looked like Nathan Farrell tossed him out. We'll clean it up after the break. Take a look at the Geico game recap. Headline from this game, a lot of nonsense. Unnecessary fouls, flagrant twos, a fight, a 19-minute delay. Players coming off the bench. 7 players ejected, multiple fans ejected. The push here by Jameer Jones was the last ejection. By the way, Josan Sandin was given a technical but not ejected. And we will have free throws coming up. That shot right there, Kim English, pretty much sums up the day. And a lot of players losing their cool in a hostile environment here at Providence College. So Vox will take the technical foul shots. Sandin hit with a tee for taunting. And while Nathan Farrell did have the throw out motion, he was just basically came over and said he's basically saying to get out of the scrum there, like move on, get to the bench is what he explained to us. But he looked to me like he threw him out. Anyway, both like technical foul shots are good, and this is a 9-point game. And Bryce Hopkins is back on the floor.
Sorry, he looked like a umpire.
Yeah, get out of here.
Tossing somebody.
Exactly.
For yelling at the, you know, I'm thinking of Earl Weaver yelling at an umpire. I know a thing or two about that. Who's going to score now for Providence? I think Vox. Isolation is so dangerous.
Hopkins guarding. Vox trying to dribble himself free. It's a struggle. Vox falls down. Mila, desperation three, no. And Darling in there with position. Last touch by Hargrove. Officials will confer. This is something you can review, and they overturn it.
A good defense on the initial possession there, forcing a tough shot. But Darling somehow was on Arunse there, trying to block him out. Not easy to do at all.
Another chance here for Providence. They're down 9. They're not out of it. And Darling pokes it free. Yeah, Darling is a menace. Fatigue might be a factor with Vox. See if he gets one in. No. And it's going to be Hopkins with a rebound. And with 2.5 to go, St. John's in ball control mode now.
And the clock is your friend here. St. John's will just work the clock, move it side to side, and imagine Darling and Ejiofor two-man game.
Ejiofor, and he is fouled. Arunse will pick up his fourth. I would imagine Rick Pitino and the St. John staff a little concerned about when this game ends, getting his players and his fans into an area under the stands. Andy Katz, I'm sure you're all over that.
Well, I'm actually in the tunnel right now. One of the beauty of this arena is the tunnel to get off the court is right behind the visitor bench. So there will not be any kind of handshake line or any kind of exchange, maybe a wave, we'll see. But the players will be able to exit right behind the bench, right through these hockey boards, into the locker room that's right behind me, the coaching staff and everyone else. There is some fear that there could be things thrown, so they're gonna really just turn around and just come right out behind the bench.
Yeah, and an on-court interview is out of the question at this point, as Ejiofor knocks him in, and St. John's is up 11. As soon as we're wrapped up here, Spiro Ditas, Robbie Hummel, Jared Greenberg will pick up the action for you on TNT. That game right now is on True TV. Marquette and Xavier, part of our Big East doubleheader today. Mila handling the ball here, and he is fouled. A couple of free throws coming for Ryan Mila.
You talk about this game and Providence, as you see Kim English there, 14th in the country, as you mentioned, 88 points a game, and under 2 minutes left to hold them to 64 points is impressive. Now we know Sellers is not in the game. Obviously Jason Edwards didn't play, was hurt.
The fact you didn't have Corey Floyd, Edwards.
Floyd as well, yes. So you didn't have all full arsenal there offensively, but still, to say the least, the defense of St. John's, through the lulls on the offensive end, has been pretty consistent here throughout the game.
Darling able to break the press. Sannon peels it back. Edwards had missed 7 games with a foot injury, came back and had a nice little spurt against Seton Hall, but unable to go today. Darling leaves it off for Hopkins, around and out, and that'll be Providence, or St. John's ball, I beg your pardon.
No, I think Providence.
I beg your pardon, it is Providence ball.
Well, still a 3-possession game, only a 9-point lead. Problem is Providence has just had difficulty manufacturing points here. It's interesting, their offense is just a lot of isolation one-on-one.
Mila misses a layup. Grant, we had 10 free throw attempts in the first half between the two teams.
Will that change?
You want to take a guess how many we had in the second half?
More than 10.
40.
Oh, wow.
They had 50 fouls in the first meeting at Madison Square Garden. And more free throws are coming up here for Darling. Take a look at the good hands play of the game presented by Allstate. What a second half for Dylan Darling. As Dylan Mitchell got ejected, it's the diminutive point guard out of the Big Sky who has been the best player.
When Dylan went out and just took over, particularly right after the altercation, as we talked about, just right away. Scored, got a steal in transition, hit a big 3, just gave this team a lift emotionally, but also with his play on both ends of the floor. And Dylan Darling, we talked about him as last year's Big Sky Player of the Year. He looked like the Big East Player of the Year in this second half.
I think our tape machines have been fighting as well. They've been fighting each other. Everybody's angry right now.
Everybody's angry.
It's Valentine's Day. Here's Vox. Oh, he knocks it in, a running 3. Foul quickly. It's going to put Jackson at the line. Vox with 20 now. That keeps his string of 20 points or more going. The fabulous freshman has 8 of those games this year, 20 plus. 8 of his last 11 games, as a matter of fact. As Jackson knocks in the first.
And if you're Rick Pitino right now, look, this wasn't pretty at all. It was a tough game, but you're happy and proud of your team that you just found a way, as Jackson makes another free throw, and you found a way to win, finding different ways to win, some adversity, some challenges, and being mature and being just tough-minded to be able to bounce back after that altercation to win. It says a lot about this group.
Ejiofor leaves it for Dylan Darling. Shot clock is off. And let's hope things are calm to get to the finish line here. The St. John's players are all kind of lining up to get through that tunnel as the clock ticks. Dylan Darling, impressive second half.
And you can see the bench right now, St. John's, no handshake line. They're just getting off the court. I think this is smart. We saw Patino and Kim English shake hands with 20 seconds left. Let's just get them out of here and get this game over with.
St. John's outscored Providence by 9 after the fight. They were down 1 at that time, and they win it 79-69. And the St. John's Red Storm have won 11 straight games. To 13-1 in conference they go. Coming up next, after the break, Marquette and Xavier for the Hall of Famers, Grant Hill and Andy Katz. I'm Brian Anderson saying goodbye from Providence. A wild one here today in Rhode Island.